Welcome back to STEM Mondays. I'm Rivera, STEM coordinator and co-host. Today on episode 3, we're gonna have a little bit of a different dynamic, and we're not gonna be performing a live experiment, but we're going to be talking about data collection and analysis. We're going to be performing a simulation demonstrating how exponential growth works, and we're going to have our first invited student. We're gonna have the 9th grader Lillian Haynes talking to us about her work in Bodies Without Borders. Let's go to the lab. Now we're going to be doing a demonstration of how exponential growth works.
And we're going to take the opportunity to show you how a virus can spread from person to person using this demonstration.
To do that, we're going to be using Skittles. And each Skittle is going to represent a person that was infected by a virus. Now, Gaddiel, with how many people are we going to start?
For today's demonstration, we're going to start with 2 Skittles.
Okay, so we have 2 Skittles that represent 2 people that are already infected with the virus, right? So we're going to put this in our graduated cylinder. And what we're going to do is that we're going to put, again, the Skittles on the table, on the napkin here. And if they land with the S facing upwards, then we're going to count that as if an interaction happened such that these people infected someone else. So, here we go. Both of them landed face up, right? So it means that they infected 2 more people. So now, we're going to be adding those to our graduated cylinder. At the same time, Mr. Gaddiel is going to be marking our observations on the coordinate plane. So we have that our initial observation was 2 people infected with the virus, right? So that's on day 0. And then on day 1, after 1 day that has passed, we have 4 people infected by the virus. Now we're going to do this trial again. And now we have that 3 of the 4 Skittles landed facing up. So we got 3 more infections. We're going to add those to our graduated cylinder. So 4 plus 3, we got a total of 7 people infected on day 2. Let's run another trial now that we have 7. Okay? Put the Skittles on the table and we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 5 more infections. Let's add those. So now we have a total of 5 plus 7. So we have 12 infections, right, Lillian?
Yes.
Okay, so this is on day 3. On day 3, we already have 12 people infected by the virus. Do you think that we should do one more, Gaddiel?
I think at least 1 more.
All right, so let's do 1 more observation. Okay. And here we go. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we got 8 more observations. Let's see. 1 more. And now we have a total of 12 plus 8. So we have 20 observations. Well, that was quick, right, Gaddiel?
It's going really, really fast.
Okay, what type of data do you think that we have here?
We're talking about exponential data.
Okay, an exponential means that it's increasing very, very quickly. You can see, if you compare to the image right at the beginning, where we had just 2 Skittles, you can see that the increase is actually very quick. And just 4 days have passed, right? So, one important aspect to consider here is the rate of increase. So we can find that by doing the following. So we have that the rate of change for this data is going to be equal to the number of observations on the last day. So on day 4, we have 20. So this is going to be 20 minus the initial observation, which was 2, right, Lillian?
Yes.
And we're going to divide that by the total number of days. So how many days we conducted observations for? Then we have 4 days, right? Now, we got 20 minus 2. That's going to be equal to 18 over 4. 18 divided by 4 equals 4.5. So this means that on average, every day, 4 to 5 people are getting infected with the virus. Now, this is going to increase as we add more observations, right, Gaddiel?
Yes.
Okay, so there are other factors that we need to take into consideration. Now, one of our main goals whenever we're working with the spread of a virus is to mitigate the infections, right? So we want to decrease or control as much as possible the rate of contamination. And how do we do that, Mr. Gaddiel?
So far, during this quarantine, there's 3 main things we need to take into consideration. They're really, really important. The first one, the evident one. We need to use a face mask. Okay, the way that we contaminate or get infected by the virus is with two situations. The droplets that go out of the person with the person sneezes or coughs. That's why we need to use a face mask to protect myself and to protect others. One other thing that I need to do to modify my behavior, I need to watch my hands constantly. Okay, I need to prevent getting my hands, in the case if they are infected, getting them to my face. So I need to wash my hands constantly. And the last one, social distancing. Okay, because the average distance of those droplets that go out of the person is 6 feet. That's why we need to try to maintain a minimum of 6 feet from person to person.
Excellent. Now, there are other factors that we should take into consideration when studying such a situation, such as mental health. Now, we have a student that's going to be with us today. Her name is Lillian Haynes. She's a 9th grader here at Robinson School, and she's going to be talking to us about her work conducted during the summer as part of her participation in Buddies Without Borders. So let's see what Lillian has to share with us.
Hi, I'm Molly Ferch, co-host of STEM Mondays. Today we have with us Miss Lillian Haynes. Hi, Lily. Lily is a 9th grade student at Robinson School, and she's been studying with us for about 3 years. So, Lily, we heard that you participated in a program called Buddies Without Borders this summer. Can you tell us about it?
Of course. So Buddies Without Borders is an international forum found on the Facebook platform, and basically through it you are able to collaborate and discuss with students around the world. In this case, I discussed the global problem of COVID-19 and how it affects mental health, and basically we were able to understand how it affects different parts of the world, how we can track it, and just a bunch of different topics all about it. So it's a very great opportunity just to really be able to collaborate and just understand it better.
Awesome. Thanks, Lily. So we want to know what your role was. Did you have a group? How did you go about studying with people from other countries?
So basically, on the first week of the program, we had a kind of get to know you kind of session, and then they divided us into groups based on the application that we turned in. So in my case, I enjoyed languages, reading, writing, mathematics, and from there they put us into groups so we were all kind of have similar interests. So in my case, I was on Team Austria, and basically these groups just gave us an opportunity to really discuss certain guidelines and regulations we want to recommend to the World Health Organization, which was the end goal in sight, was to write a 3-page paper about how we can improve how we respond to COVID-19 and how that can help with the mental health aspect of it.
Awesome. That is so cool that you got the opportunity to do that. So your research, did you do any data collection? Was there a way for you to receive data or maybe take your own data?
Yes. So actually, whenever I was first starting out, I think it was week 3 or week 2, I realized that I wanted to be able to sustain my arguments and my discussions with my own data instead of just looking online. So I made a small form in English and in Spanish, and I sent it out to people all around Puerto Rico. And basically what this did is that it gave me my own personal data to be able to compare mental health and 7 to 8 year olds in comparison to 17 or 18-year-olds. And just data collection, there's also pros and cons to it. Sometimes you have to be careful with how you do it because it can get very tricky with how many different aspects go into it. In my case, I focused more on teenagers. So I had questions such as how much sleep they were getting due to online school, how they like the online school, how COVID-19 affects them and their family, just stuff like that. And basically with like data collection, I was able to really back up my arguments instead of just me like saying this or that. I was able to really back them up with information that I could start good discussions with.
Great. So did your group also use your data or help you analyze your data that you actually collected here in Puerto Rico?
Yes. So basically, I presented it multiple times because I had lots of questions. So as the weeks went on, I was able to present my data and different arguments I made or different kind of kind of discussions that came up, I was able to show it. And basically it was insane because I had seen my data a certain way, but then another teenager would come in and be like, oh my gosh, Lily, but look at this. Do you think about this? And I had no idea. I didn't even think about that. So I was really able to really comprehend how interesting and how fun it can be to not only collect data, but also to figure out ways to discuss data, figure out ways to look at data differently, because there's so many different ways to look at graphs and percentages and data collection. So I wouldn't say my group necessarily focused on it, but we did touch on it here and there as we went through the weeks.
Awesome. And do you think that being in an IB school really helped you to collaborate with the students?
Oh, definitely. For some reason, I'm sure that teachers are tired of getting the question, when am I going to use these IB skills in real life? And I was one of those students that was always like, when am I going to use my risk taker or my communication? And through this, I was really able to use those different, not only IB skills, but the learner profiles as a whole, just to really be able to discuss and communicate with all these different people. Being able to speak Spanish and French and all these different languages really helps me to be able to talk to people around the world. And I was able to take the skills I learned here at Robinson and be able to apply them into the programs where I was reflecting, I was communicating, I was inquiring a ton. So I was really able just to see how far these IB profiles can take you and be able to see them reflected in others. There were so many other IB learners there, and through it I was able to see exactly how you can apply IB learning just in general.
Awesome. So do you think that your project and your group of these amazing students from around the world, did it help you understand the current state of the situation that we're in?
Oh, definitely. I was able to look at how because COVID-19 affects different areas in different ways. So I was able to look at, how COVID-19 affects Puerto Rico, and then discuss with my group who was in Spain and Indonesia and Mexico, and be able to talk to them and discuss and be like, oh my gosh, we have stricter regulations, they have a longer curfew, and just really see the different ways that it affects everybody, how it affects, and how they're trying to improve it. So in general, my group, we had crazy time differences in my group. So, I was waking up at like super duper late or getting up super duper early just to get in like a solid hour of work. And it was really, really cool because we were all just kind of brought together by this goal at the end. And we were really able just to discuss and analyze and figure stuff out with COVID-19. So I thought it was awesome.
Awesome, Lily. Great work. Super awesome. We are so proud of you here at Robinson School. Can you just explain to everyone what your final project wanted to accomplish with your research and your data?
Of course. So our final project, in my group's case, it was to present guidelines and regulations to the World Health Organization. My group did kind of a color coding map. So depending on the intensity of a certain zone in the country, they would get a certain color. So in my case, I focused on Austria because that was my group's country. So in one part of Austria, there may be a higher percentage of COVID cases being found in another area. So that area would get like a code red, and basically longer curfew, stricter regulations, you can't go outside, virtual schooling, while a white zone would have, it'd be more chill. You wouldn't have to be at your house by 8. You could stay out a little later. You could do small gatherings, stuff like that. So, and then from there, we did a COVID app. And basically what this app did is that you were able to get informed about COVID-19, what was happening in your country, stuff like that, which I just think, in my group as a whole, thought was so important, because I feel like a lot of the reasons why COVID-19 is being such a hectic thing right now is because people aren't getting the information they need. So I think that by being able to data collect and by being able to discuss and analyze and just have this app where everything just kind of come together, I think that it just really helps us really comprehend and be able to figure out ways to combat COVID.
Thank you so much for sharing your information and your knowledge with us, Lily. We are so glad that you got this opportunity over the summer. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, Molly, that was a great interview.
Oh, thank you so much. Lily really does have a lot to share with us.
I agree. So, what do you think was one of the most important takeaways from her interview?
So, I think with her interview, she really emphasized data collection and analyzing through her group project. I also think that she definitely emphasized data this, especially in the world we're living in today.
Excellent. So everyone, that's everything that we have for episode 3 of STEM Mondays. So we'll see you in the next one.
Stay tuned!
Stay tuned.